All right, back on Open Line talking about regulating and promoting safety, excuse me, in the transpotainment industry here in Nashville. I promised I would get right to our calls, and Wayne is holding on line one. Hey, Wayne.
Yes, how are you?
I'm well, sir. What's your comment or question?
Some observations of watching them, modifications of the vehicles, no seat belts, open containers of alcohol. There was a man that fell out.
Yep.
Changing the vehicle, both sides are cut out. This man from Michigan, it was reported that he was run over, his legs were run over.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 violations, open containers of alcohol in a moving vehicle, modification of the vehicle itself, no seat belts. It seems like it's a licensing and enforcement issue, but I think it can be very unsafe. And then also the third one is profanity in public assembly and profanity in broadcasting. They're going all over town.
Right.
You have a lot of asphalt and concrete.
Yeah.
And you can hear that profanity for miles.
The council member brought that up earlier, for sure. That's definitely an issue.
That's a federal communication violation.
Yeah.
So there's many violations going on. And what is that teaching our young people, our little children? That's a bad influence. You go all over town cursing your mother, dishonoring God.
And really, thank you so much, Wayne. It's kind of an image issue for Nashville. We don't want to be ashamed. We want that image to be a little more welcoming. And I know you're addressing that, Councilman.
Right, and I think that's part of it, right? I think there was a time when honky tonks and kind of that entertainment district was a thing that people were proud of, that they appreciated, that this is kind of an authentic part of Nashville's music heritage. And I mean, I think you've seen a divergence, right? The Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, which is, again, just a few blocks removed. I mean, if you talk to folks at that museum and talk about country music, they are absolutely concerned about sort of a loss of authenticity just a few blocks away from them. If you talk about some of those things that Wayne was bringing up, though, it's really tricky. The part about being mobile is much harder, right? Like Jim and I worked to some success, and I hope it's fully resolved, and I'll check with him as we go through this, right? There was an establishment just around the corner from him that was in violation of some things in the Metro Code of Laws, and it was a fixed thing, and we could, between MNPD and Metro Codes, we could start to go hammer on that and get it taken care of. When these things are moving around and you say, well, I heard something that was clearly profanity, if you don't have somebody from MNPD who has heard that, or you don't have a clear recording in a vehicle, I mean, it's surprisingly difficult to go press that if they challenge a citation or decide not, if they're going to ignore the citation and get hauled into court. You've got to actually be able to back this stuff up when you actually appear in court to do this, right?
Difficult.
So the regulatory environment, though, when you say, are you actually permitted? I mean, I think that's where we might actually get to, is how fun is it to be on one of these buses if you continue to operate in bad faith and every few blocks you're getting pulled over? Yeah. Well, that's suddenly not as fun for your patrons.
Let's go to Ricky on line 2. Hey, Ricky. Ricky, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for taking the call.
You're welcome.
Now, first of all, to say is this transportation issue is a done deal because the councilman can listen to the rich people downtown. They need to move at CMA. When I first moved in the late 70s, early 80s, the CMA was after the fairgrounds. Well, they need to move it back out there and then keep up all the noise it won't. And furthermore, I go to church on Sundays, and I can't even get across the bridge here in Jefferson Street to get to the church.
Right. Because
it's Titan football and they noise, and every time they score a touchdown, the cannon goes off. I don't understand how they open this thing up loud for this fantasy football and all this other stuff going on. Now they want another baseball team here. But they forgetting about the local people here.
Yeah.
Because I used to believe in Freddie O'Connell. He was a good councilman. But he got in there with Jim. He got in there with Carl Dean, who said they were going to take all the land and turn it into the shelter for the homeless people and everything.
Ricky, real quick, because we're running out of time. Where do you live in? What area?
I live in East Nashville.
East Nashville.
Church in North
Okay.
Nashville.
All right. Let's end right there because I have a feeling.
I can't get that.
I have a feeling Freddie wants to answer you there. Freddie, go ahead.
Yeah, Rory, I mean, this is an interesting call because, truth be told, this entire thing is backed by locals, right? I mean, this is, if you talk to any one of my urban residents, right, and Jim is a great example of this. I got an email just tonight with somebody who said, I'm ecstatic about your bill, who lives on Church Street, just, a few blocks away from Jim, and basically is saying, how can I and other urban residents help you out, right? I mean, and this is the kind of thing, I mean, I basically got, the equivalent of applause from constituents all over the district, from Edge Hill to my own neighborhood of Salem Town, when we filed the bill, because people were effectively like, it's about time.
But part of politics,
the rest of those issues, right? I mean, I just sent out a lengthy example of things that we have been doing specifically in the 37208 zip code, and I'm excited because we are about to break ground, fingers crossed, on a brand new permanent supportive housing project for people who are unhoused, right? So all of these things do tie together, but this whole issue of the transportainment situation, this is very much an issue that is in the hearts of Nashville.
And quality of life. Yeah, quality of life. Let me go back to a T. Earlier, we heard someone talking about the Airbnbs and the VRBOs, the short-term rentals. Does your group address that? And obviously, there is a connection, and I know the city has worked on regulating the short-term rentals, which has boomed, obviously. There's definitely a little bit of a connection.
I think there may be some connection, but Rory, we're really talking about transportainment here.
Yeah, you're focused right on that.
We are, and I just want to comment on Jerry previously. I'm Nashville native, born and raised, love Nashville, and I love the growth and the diversity. My main stance is I don't want this to be a crappy city. I want this to be the city and continue to have selection groups from World Cup and other organizations to look to Nashville to bring their events, because it is helping the diversity and the businesses like Google and Oracle that are coming here. And we want that because that creates jobs for the residents here.
Yes, it does.
I'm not trying to get rid of the transportation. We just want to regulate.
And that's the dynamic, though, in any city. Like I said, I've got cousins who are born and raised here, and they don't like a lot of the growth and the traffic, but it's inevitable, especially in a city as great as Nashville. The word gets out, and Austin and Raleigh and all of these cities that are growing and growing, it happens almost everywhere. We can't really stop it, but we can hit the pause button, council member, O'Connell, and try to regulate and just have some common sense as we grow and move forward. And we're going to trip and fall and make mistakes, and not everybody's going to be happy, as you know, being in politics. Freddie.
For sure. I mean, that's why, again, I don't think this bill is going to pass with every I and T as it is right now. There are still a few things to be dotted and a few things to be crossed, and we're going to get there. But I think what I'm most encouraged by, as Jim brought this up earlier in a sidebar conversation, I mean, we've got as big a coalition as we've had to work on something, because everybody knows this, right? Our residents know that what is happening right now is not right. People who work in and around downtown know that what is happening right now is not right. If you just drive in and around downtown, whether you're passing through the Gulch or crossing one of the bridges, you know that this is not okay, right? That we have gone past that part of growth that is exciting to the part that is sometimes unsafe, sometimes annoying.
15 seconds left. Freddie, I'll end with you. How long do you think this process will take, Metro and the state?
Toward the end of the year. I mean, it'll take a little bit of tinkering, and follow us along at Metro Council. There will be, if you go to nashville.gov/council, you can track the bill there. It's up. I think it's Bill 2021-911 is the bill number. It just came out yesterday. Yep, it's Bill 2021-911. You can follow along there.
Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we've educated some folks about this issue, and we will be following along, definitely. We'll let our guests go for the night. We appreciate it, and we will wrap up Open Line right after this.